I think there are two standout dishes from Barracuda Big Mama restaurant in Brussels. One was the aubergine, super fresh aubergine, pan-seared a little bit with fresh pesto. I think it also had burrata, if I'm not wrong, on it, and some hazelnuts on top. Simple yet fresh, and so good and so delicious. That's a dish I will try my best to recreate, and I absolutely loved it. And another one would be, which one actually? It would actually be from the same restaurant, the burrata with sun-dried tomato and pesto that we had. It was just the sheer quality of burrata which was melting into my mouth. I think that is one thing, definitely two flavors that I have it in mind and would love to recreate. So at Concept Chocolataire, they had a chocolate which was pink in color. So we now know that there's a chocolate in the market available called Ruby chocolate, which is pink in color, but it lacks that distinct flavor. It somehow ends up being very similar to white chocolate. But this particular chocolate bar was very interesting because what they'd done is they had infused it with rose petals, and that just gave me an insight into there's so much more that you can actually do with chocolate. You could even add freeze-dried strawberries or even do lavender. There's so many different flavors, and Belgian chocolates being a testimony to high quality because of the ratio of cacao butter that they end up using. That's one flavor that got me thinking into so much more that can be done, and also using it in Indian desserts like rose flavored white chocolate to make a dome out of it, stuff it with Indian flavors, I think would be very interesting. So what was very interesting to see is that how they were pairing beers with chocolate. While Germans are really rigid about the way they make theirs, and they ensure that it is authentically made and traditionally made. In Belgium, in fact, they were having fun with it and trying different flavors, which was very exciting. So we started off with a really fruity beer, which is made from a local cherry that you get there. And they paired it with a nutty chocolate, which was absolutely delicious. Another one that I remember very clearly was that they had this beer which was slightly bitter and deeper in taste, like a little malty in taste, like very deep. But they paired it with a chocolate which had orange peel, and orange peel usually can be bitter, but they end up cooking it, simmering it in sugar, making a candied orange peel and then coating it with chocolate. So, but too bitter, but it complemented each other really well, like two bitter flavors, but came together beautifully. So I think that for me was very, very interesting. I would always say halloumi because I have loved it all when I was living abroad, absolutely loved it. And as Indians are also, a lot of us are vegetarians. It's a cheese which is very similar to paneer in forms of texture, so very easy to actually replace in a lot of dishes, and making it easier for the Indian audience to also accept it. So definitely a cheese that I think the access for in India should increase, and I think it'll be easier for them to accept it also and experiment with it. So one of the pillars that European Union's produce stands on is authenticity. So when we were actually going through the vineyards and then we went to see how wine's made, it was actually very interesting to see the owner, who was a fifth generation of the same family, and how back in the day they had to sell off some of their vineyards, and they continued to go back there and work, and eventually even ended up buying some of them just so that they could continue to make wine the same way. And that just goes to show how they focus so much on authenticity and on the same principles, being carried out. Of course, they did mention how over years they've used technology to make the processes easier and better. But for me, these small examples actually end up showing how European Union ensures that the produce that you get is authentic.